Dr. Karyn Gordon is here to help us deal with stress in September.
Oh, September stress.
It's the time when everything starts going, and it's going on high gear, and it's going quickly, and you have to figure out how to schedule things so you're not completely frazzled.
Yes, it is. It is. You know, I was on Facebook yesterday with some of my friends, and it's amazing. That is like the word for a lot of us, is kind of like, how do we manage it?
Yes.
How do we manage it? So tip number one, and this is really important, is to control our schedule. And this sounds kind of really strange, but we need to control our schedule, not our schedule controlling us.
Yeah.
I was speaking at a conference a couple weeks ago, and there was about 3 of the different moms, and they were all talking about how crazy their schedule is, but the way they were talking about it was like it was their schedule controlling them. I'm like, well, hang on a second, like, who's doing the booking?
Right?
We are doing the booking.
Yeah.
So we either sign up for it or we don't sign up for it. But I think just even having that mentality going, I'm in charge of this, not this in charge of me.
I get so mad at myself when I all of a sudden see all the commitments I've made, and then I realize what that is actually going to mean in real time to my life. And I, you know, for a phase, I've gotten very good at just saying no right across the board, and then the yeses started creeping back in. So you really got to edit. You have to, you have to look at what is absolutely crucial and what doesn't need to be on that list.
Absolutely. And to the second point, is once we kind of, and I think, Tracy, you actually do this very well in terms of knowing how to edit and how to say yes and how to say no. The second tip is we have to know what the emotional price tag is. Because I know for me that if I pack my schedule, I am the worst version of myself.
Me too.
And the price tag is I'm irritable, I'm crusty. Last week I felt like my schedule was too full, and my son says to me, Mommy, maybe you need to go to bed a little bit earlier because you're a little bit cranky. That's what he said to me. I was like, oh my gosh, as I'm doing up my notes for this, I'm like, I might not be the best example. But kind of like, it was a good reminder for me to realize that, you know, I constantly still have to do that as well. And that's the price tag for me, is I'm irritable.
I'm irritable, I'm rushed, I'm snappy, I'm not a nice wife. So like I'm feeling the vibes from my husband. I'm sure he's sitting back thinking, you're crazy because you're the one that put it on the schedule.
I know.
Like, what is going on here? Who are you upset at here? It's you. You did this.
I know.
But it's just hard to balance. You've got parents, you've got kids, you've got friends, you've got commitments. And you've got work.
And you have work on top.
So where do you, how do you make everything work? And you're saying that you actually do need to find a way to prioritize.
Yes, and this is tip number 3. And one of the things that I love is it's a metaphor. You can actually do this with your kids at home. Get out a jar, get sand and get rocks. And if you were to actually put a sand in first in the jar and then try to put rocks in, it doesn't actually fit. The big rocks kind of fall out. But if you do it the other way, if you put the big rocks in first and then the sand, it actually fits. And it's a whole metaphor that we need to focus on what are the big rocks. So what happens is that if that jar is kind of like our time, we only have so much time in the day. So we have to focus on what are my 2 or 3 big rocks first, and then if I have extra time, then I'll put the sand in. And so, you know, for September, the 2 big rocks for us was get the kids' rooms organized, get them to kind of, you know, declutter the stuff, and then get them back into a good sleeping schedule. That's all. That's all I want to do for September. And so I think it's a good idea to think about with our children, what are our big rocks? And like, let's make that, and actually for children, it's actually even good to get the visual, like, get out the rocks. Get out the paint and actually put it up so you can actually visually see it as a family as well.
And you're a little easier on yourself in that way because then you feel accomplished. I did my 2 things, or I did my 3 things. Everything else is extra. It's all bonus and gravy. And if I get anything else done, it's amazing. Are your kids going to bed pretty late right now?
Well, they were in the summer. I mean, we were going up to like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Same with us.
And then all of a sudden, the week before school, I'm like, okay, let's kind of like start cranking it down. Got them into a camp just to kind of get them back into a rhythm. More structure. I think a friend of mine actually did that. She said it's one of the best strategies, which I love. And again, because the rock thing for me is, I know for my boys, and me too, that if they don't get enough sleep,
it's over.
It's over. It's like the emotional, their ability to manage their emotions really radically goes down. So, the week before camp, or before school, we were actually doing 30 minutes outside of their normal bedtime.
Got it.
It's kind of like as a training.
I would say for most people need sleep. I think we'd actually stop having war in the world if people got like 8, 9 hours of sleep. Like, people are cranky, and it's a sleep thing.
Because I need 9.
Oh, I need about 7 or 8.
So you need 7 or 8.
Yeah, and I will go to bed at 8 p.m. if I need to do it.
Wow.
I will put the kids to bed and then I'll go to bed.
Is that one of your big rocks? Is your sleep?
Oh, sleep is non-negotiable for me. I don't let it go. Absolutely. I have to get my sleep. Let's throw it out to the viewers then. Hit us up on Twitter and let us know, what are your big rocks? What are the things that you cannot sacrifice at all? And hit us up at CityLineCA.